Hello and welcome. My name is Morgan Ritchie-Baum. I'm the business and nonprofit librarian here with Greensboro Public Library. And as part of the library celebration of Black History Month, we wanted to take this opportunity to highlight Black-owned businesses in Greensboro. And today I am so excited to be joined by Blairton Hampton and Brent Hampton. Blairton Hampton is the founder of Greensboro's own Century Products, LLC. His son, Brent Hampton, is now the president and CEO of Century Products. Brent and Blairton, welcome to you both, and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. So Blairton, if I could start with you, can you just tell me what inspired you to start Century Products, LLC?
Well, Morgan, I think actually I've always sort of had that entrepreneur spirit in me as a teenager, and I got it, I think, from working for my uncle. One summer, he owned a business in Burlington, North Carolina. It was a sheet metal company, and he did installation of heating systems and air conditioning systems and roofing. And even though it was hard work, I fell in love with it. I liked what he was doing, and I got to see his benevolence in terms of helping other people who, I remember specifically one church out in the country that was a small church, and their heating system went out, and he quoted them a number, and he was showing it to me, and he had marked it down where he was making, maybe 10%. And he said, it's to help them out because they need the help. And so I saw this as a way not only for me to make a living and doing something I thought, I would enjoy, but as a way of helping other people, and especially people within the Black community.
Wonderful, wonderful. And Brent, tell us all about Century Products LLC as it exists today. It sounds like you had such a firm foundation from which to grow on. So tell us about the company today.
Yes, well, Century Products LLC, we are mainly distributor of cleaning supplies, specializing in floor care. Our niche market is the fast food industry, or QSR, quick service restaurants. We've been doing that for the 33 and a half years we have been in existence. Now, lately in the past couple of years, we have been trying to look more locally because we've never truly done business in Greensboro. So that has been one thing. And even though the pandemic has slowed that down, we are finally making strides. And through work with the Greensboro Chamber, we've been introduced to some key people in purchasing positions with the city of Greensboro and Guilford County. So we're hoping to go ahead and develop that relationship and start building some more local. While our business has been focused outside, kind of as my father said, we do concentrate on giving back locally. We are very involved with the American Heart Association. We have been very involved nationally with the Ronald McDonald House, and we do have one locally here in Winston-Salem, as well as in Chapel Hill. My father actually sits on the North Carolina board for the RMHC, so we do hold those very near and dear to our hearts. And yeah, so we're trying to not only make sure that you eat at a nice, clean restaurant, but as my father said, give back a little to the community as well.
What a powerful legacy. That's so wonderful. So thinking about legacy and thinking about family business, we are thinking a lot about this Black History Month, about the Black family. So Blairton, if I can come back to you, can you describe how starting this business impacted your family and how you think about your legacy?
Well, starting the business, it was, I think the major thing was because I was traveling so much to build. Century really is a nationally based business. We have business from the East Coast to the West Coast, to the northernmost city to the southernmost city. And so that kept me on the road quite a bit. So how it impacted my family in the beginning was my wife, she actually was running another business. So we gave that up because we felt like we had lost control of the kids, because we ran into a neighbor one day at the grocery store one Sunday, I remember very vividly. And they said, well, I saw Brandon at such and such. And we both looked at each other. He's not supposed to be there.
Uh-oh.
So, yeah, uh-oh. That was our uh-oh moment. And we said, okay, meeting for the family. So we sat down and talked to the kids and realized that we had to get better control. So Brenda decided to quit work, and so that she could be at home more, because in the very beginning, when you're trying to build a business, I was traveling probably 24 or 25 days out of the month. And I certainly was not able to do the things that I had been doing when I was in banking, when I got off work at 5:30 and I came home. But so I think the impact that we had was that we suffered a little bit in the beginning, and then because I stopped coaching my children in soccer and things like that, and truly a lot of the conventions and meetings that I had to go with, a lot of them started on the weekend. So I was missing out on the church and things like that. And Brenda, my wife, took over that responsibility in the beginning. Excuse me. And so I think that was the hard part about getting started. And then too, my oldest son started working for me for a little while, and he didn't like it, and wanted to do his own thing. And I didn't have a problem with that. And quite honestly, Brent sort of came at me a little bit later, and because he was 4 years younger, but still he was doing some other things in his life, and finally came to me and talked about doing it. And I was really honestly happy about that, because I wasn't sure when I was going to retire, but I knew all the hard work I put into building Century. I didn't want I honestly didn't want someone else to come in and reap the benefits of that. And so when Brent came to me, actually went through his mama, but
smart man.
she came to me, and then that's when Brent and I talked about it. And I gave him a couple of things I told him I wanted him to do before he came in to the business. And it wasn't one of the situations where I was giving him something. I said, these are 2 things I want you to do, and you earn the business and earn your right to work. And so he did those, and he started working in the warehouse from day one and stayed there for about 6 months, I think, before he moved into marketing or sales or administration. I can't remember the order, but he went through each department so he would understand that. And so I was really, really happy with him, because he did everything that was asked of him. And it wasn't something that I gave him or sold to him. It was something that he earned. And so when it came time for me to retire, or when I thought I was going to retire, I said, I felt real good about where it is. I hate it. The only regret I have is that he took the business at a bad time. And this COVID really affected us. We started off, I just retired at the end of August. We started off the year making a whole bunch of money because we had so much PPE equipment, and we sold everything we had. We were trying to go overseas everywhere, trying to get product to continue to sell. And so that had hurt us, but we always had toilet paper and towels and everything to sell. So that has continued. So I just sort of hated that this thing hit right now. And, and he and I have talked a little bit about it and what he's looking at doing. And I have endorsed, because, there was no other direction. So I think overall the impact of the COVID, but I think in terms of a legacy, I don't know, I never really thought about a legacy. I wanted the business to be, I guess, my legacy in terms of it stayed in the Hampton family, et cetera, and that it would continue to do that for years and years. And part of that is the generational wealth issue. As you know, Morgan, within Black businesses, there are few businesses, Black businesses, that have been able to pass on generational wealth within the families. And even though it was not one of these where you're talking about billions of dollars and everything, it was still something that was going to preserve and make sure that each generation that took over would live a good life and a prosperous life.
Absolutely. So powerful. Thank you for that. So, Brent, how hearing your father talk about his role in the business with you growing up, passing that business on to you, how do you see the business in your own words, the role it played in your life, and now how you maybe think about your legacy going forward?
Well, listening to him is interesting because I learned some new things. Like, I knew he worked roofing as a high schooler, but I did not know as far as uncle. And probably going to follow up after the interview to ask which uncle, just get a little more information on that. But going back to starting the business, that was 87. So I was 6 going on 7, birthdays in October. And well, he's also, at the time, he was in the Army Reserves. So he was gone most weekends anyway. So we were kind of used to that. And I know at one point in my adult life, he actually just sat down and apologized for being on the road so much and missing so much. And I know my response was, while he was on the road a lot, he wasn't absent. He was always there. I was glad when he quit coaching soccer because I did not like him as a coach at all. I'll say that. I've said that to him before. And that wasn't that was more of a relief than anything. But he always showed up. He was the president of the PTA, I think, or it was high level something on the PTA all through school. He actually handed me he handed everybody their diploma.
Wow.
At Western, but I was one of those everybody. So he actually handed me my diploma when I graduated high school. So yeah, I do remember him being on the road a lot, and every now and then, some of the fun trips he'd take us on. But no, I don't really feel like he was just always on the road and not there during childhood. So I would definitely say that. Maybe would have liked him on the road a little more, maybe, but that's more the high school years.
Right.
Yeah, so it's interesting. As he said, it was later before I realized I wanted to come to work for him. I was a psychology major out of college. Knew I did not want to go psychiatry route, and then had no idea what I wanted to do because for years that had been my goal. But science, that wasn't me. So they said I was trying to figure myself out, and one of my friends got me a job with DLO. They made the little jam cases for the iPods when they came out.
Oh, yeah, okay.
2000s. Yes, they were one of the first ones and worked for them. And it was interesting to see because my buddy Justin that got me the job, he was employee 5. And I think I was employee 47 or 48 because I was also the login numbers. But just the growth that he had and learning from him, really enjoyed that job, saw opportunity there until he got a new CFO. And a bit of the workforce quit. Just, changed the culture.
Sure.
And after that, just kind of seeing sales, that's when I had the idea. I was like, I kind of like sales. I get to use my BA in psychology a little because dealing with people and how they think. So that was good for me. And as he said, he was like, well, go back and get a business degree. So actually went to Guilford, and they call them concentrations, but got a business concentration / minor before he would let me work. And then, as he said, he kind of put me through the ropes and definitely made me earn it. I think when I started here, I took a pay cut from waiting tables
Oh
because
no.
I was definitely bringing home more money on the weekends than I was. But so that was good learning the business. And I would say I also got to see a different side of him, got to see
Mm-hmm.
more of Blairton Hampton as opposed to Dad.
Mm-hmm.
Because all my life I've known him as Dad, but just seeing him at work and how he interacts with his colleagues, it was just a different side. And I definitely learned a lot from him. Still call him. I'm lucky in that aspect when I have questions, which I often come across quite a few of them.
Absolutely.
So, and then going back to what he said on the generational wealth, I do remember studying this back in college, and I think I saw a figure a year or two ago that in the Black family, I think it's like 1 in 6 or 1 in 7 children will actually inherit that generational wealth, while the rest just kind of lose it through different circumstances. And going into the business, I guess kind of like him, I wasn't really looking at legacy. I thought, hey, I can do sales. My dad has a company. I need a job. That was just more self-preservation at the time. But then just being around the business and seeing the impact that he's had, seeing the different organizations, as I said, the Ronald McDonald houses that he's helped, what American Heart Association is doing, and how he has even influenced the local chapter and their mission. It's just inspiring. So I hope I can come close to filling those shoes.
Well, I think I'm inspired from both of you. I think that's so incredible. So kind of wrapping up here, for both of you, what advice do you have for new or potential business owners here in Greensboro?
Brent, you want to go?
Okay. Definitely find colleagues mentors who have been through it before. Someone who has been through the process. You definitely need people to bounce ideas off of. For my MBA group, I developed a good group of friends. We get up before COVID. We were trying to grab lunch at least or dinner once a quarter just to catch up, see how everybody's doing, just talk about work. And now with COVID, we have our Zoom meetings every now and then just to make sure everybody's hanging in there, and as I said, celebrate accomplishments and just discuss life with each other. And that has been they are all way smarter than me, so definitely find people smarter than you. Yeah, people that have been through it and people that are smarter than you, because they have been a good support system. And since they aren't in the industry, I'll come with them with business questions, and they have a different view from their respective field. I would say yes, definitely find people to help you. The more people, the better. A mentor, someone to bounce ideas off of, because talking things out helps more than I ever realized. And now I think that's really clicked with me. And here I am, 40 years old, and just that communication, the dialogue, getting things off your chest in different perspectives. Yes.
Absolutely.
The company you keep will definitely help you grow your company.
And what about you, Blairton?
I agree a lot with what Brent said. When I was in banking in DC, this is gonna be a long answer.
That's
Morgan.
okay. We'll take
Okay.
it.
When I was in DC, working in banking, there were in terms of and this is going all the way back into the mid '70s. There were about 8 or 9 other Black men and women that was in management. And we sort of formed a cohesive group, and we would go up to a restaurant on Georgia Avenue about once a month and just sit and have drinks and talk about what was happening. And so that you fed off of this, and it was always positive. Even if something bad was happening, we talked about it, but we always came up with a strategy about you ought to do this. So I had these great group of people that supported, that I could draw strength and energy from. And to Brent's point, when I moved here to North Carolina, I missed that in the beginning because I was the only one in the management type position. And I found after several months, I was sort of feeling drained. And because I realized, my wife and I talked about it, and I realized that I didn't have those people I could go to talk to, sit and talk and bare my soul to. When I started, when I started the business, and one of our first customer was, who was it? Hardee's.
Hardee's.
And then we got into McDonald's. And when we got into McDonald's, I found other Black businesses, and we were all trying to make it. We were trying to become larger and stronger and healthier. And we formed a unit. And matter of fact, right now, Brent's part of it. It's the African American Supplier Association within McDonald's. So we share ideas, and you can draw strength and energy from that. And I guess in the bottom line is that I'm going to jump back on you. When I decided to make that decision to go out on my own, I was running the main office of the bank in Burlington, North Carolina. And people said, they said, well, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to sell brooms. Well, they saw me sitting in this fine office and everything in this main office. Why are you going to do that? And everything sort of became negative. They didn't understand it. And they said, well, even when they said, well, we wish you well, there was still that question in their eye. And I think part of what you got to do is once you make that commitment, don't listen to people. Follow your dream, your target, because your friends and your family, to some extent, even to a large extent, your family they're looking out for you. And they think they're telling you the best advice so you don't do harm to you and your family. But by being negative or trying to stop you from doing your dream, you're going to shortchange everybody. And so I would say you put those things out in your mind. Go ahead with the vision that you have. And if you fail, you fail. But what caused me, I think I dreamed about starting a business for a long time. But what stopped me was I was married. I had 2 small children. And I said, okay, I had faith in myself that I could hustle in a month and get the same amount of money I was making. But what I couldn't guarantee was that the bills came in on the 15th and on the 30th, that I would have the money on those 2 dates. And that's what bothered me about stopping it. But one guy that had come to me and seen me for a loan, and I knew him, and he'd already failed in a couple of businesses, and I knew what his credit history was. And I told him, I said, man, I'm going to tell you, I can't do anything because of these bankruptcies you got. He said, well, I was just hoping and everything. And I talked to him for a second, and I was telling him I was thinking about doing something. But the one piece of advice he gave me, he said, do it now while you're young because you got time to come back. So came home, talked to the wife, and we started making plans.
That's wonderful.
And I think that's the main thing is that unlike Colonel Sanders, who started his business that late, start as young as you can. And if you fail, that's fine. You got time to come back. But at my age now, I'd have a little hesitancy about doing it. But I still think if the opportunity is right, I'm not bored yet or anything, but you got to have that. You still got to learn that you have that time to come back if you do it, if you fail. And failure is not bad. It teaches you things. What did I do wrong? And so next time up at bat, you knew what you did wrong. Don't do the same thing. I've met one man in my 33 and a half years of doing business that, and actually, I was going to buy into his business and become a part owner. His only problem was when I looked at the business, I looked at what he was doing. I said, you need to do this. You need to go right, not left. And he started agreeing with me. And before I signed papers, his lawyer called me and said, he's doing this. He's going right again. And it's the same old axiom. You can't keep doing the same thing over and over and expect anything to change. So I backed out of the deal, thank God. And about a year after that, he was out of business completely. So again, don't be afraid of failure. Look at what it teaches you and go back out there again. That's my advice.
I love it. What awesome advice. So to finish, Brent, where can we find out more about Century LLC?
We do have a website, centuryproductsllc.com. We are on LinkedIn, Facebook, and I know Twitter. We like to give good cleaning advice and just, sound sage advice to stay healthy. Yes, those are the areas. And the Greensboro Chamber, of course.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, Blairton and Brent, thank you both so much. This has been fabulous.
Well, thank you,
Morgan.